What if the weakness you feel was never truly yours? What if it was a script, handed to you the moment you were born, whispered by people who couldn't stomach your strength? They taught you to react, to explain, to beg, because the moment you stay quiet, they lose control. Silence isn't surrender. It's power that no one sees coming. But you were never taught that. You were trained to speak when you're insulted. To explain your worth. To defend yourself against every shadow someone else throws at you. And in doing so, you gave your soul away. Not all at once, no, piece by piece. Until every insult cracked your identity. Until every moment of disrespect left you bleeding invisible wounds that no one came to heal. But hear this now. You don't need their apology. You need your own permission to take back the throne you abandoned in the name of peace. Because peace without self-respect is just slavery with a pretty face. When someone disrespects you, they aren't showing you who you are, they're revealing who they are. Your silence in that moment isn't weakness. It's judgment. A sentence delivered by your stillness. And that terrifies people. Why? Because silence forces reflection. And most people fear their own mirror. More than your words. But you're no longer one of them. You've entered a different realm now. The forge of mental toughness. The battlefield of emotional alchemy. Where weakness isn't something to hide, it's something to burn, until it becomes power. Let's speak clearly now. Every emotion you've ever felt, rage, humiliation, shame, heartbreak, is molten metal, and like a blacksmith, you can shape it. This is mental alchemy. You don't avoid pain. You don't deny your fire. You stand in it. You listen to it. You breathe through it, until the smoke clears and you realize it wasn't there to break you. It was the ritual of becoming. But there's a rule, and most will never obey it. You must stay quiet, not to repress, but to reforge. The world told you that speaking up is strength. But Machiavelli whispered something colder, something truer. He said, never interrupt your enemy when they are making a mistake. And in the silence that follows disrespect, you give them the rope, you give them the stage, and they expose themselves. You become untouchable. Because true power isn't noisy. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need revenge. It simply watches. Your mind is a forge, and every thought you shape is a spark of your destiny. But forge carelessly, and you'll shatter under the pressure. Forge with discipline, and you'll wear your scars like armor. And that's where we begin. Inner discipline, the cornerstone of all freedom. Not freedom from the world, but freedom from yourself. Because the real prison isn't made of walls. It's made of reactions. Of knee-jerk emotions. Of needing to be seen, understood, validated. But when you no longer need to respond to disrespect, you've already won. Because now you're living by your law, not theirs. This is the moment everything shifts. The day you stop being a puppet. The day you stop bleeding for people who never clean your wounds. The day your silence becomes sacred, and they can't handle it. They'll say you're cold, distant, arrogant. But what they really mean is, they can no longer control your fire. This transformation won't wait for your permission. It begins the moment you're done being broken. And you look ready. There is a fire inside you, not the kind that screams, the kind that simmers, silent, controlled, the kind that makes people uncomfortable, because they can feel it, but they can't touch it. That fire is your power, and to command it, you must go where most never dare, into your own shadow. You see, the world has sold you the lie that healing means being calm, polite, palatable. But real healing is brutal. It's not flowers and soft music. It's screaming in silence. It's standing alone with your demons, unblinking until they bow before you. This is shadow work, and it's not optional. Not. If you want to be free. When someone disrespects you, something ancient stirs inside. A storm. A hunger. And most people either lash out or collapse. But not you. You've chosen the third path, the warrior's path. You feel the fire, but you don't let it burn everything down. You master it, you mold it, you transmute it. Because emotions are molten metal, and with skill, you can reshape them into unbreakable armor. You do this not by running from pain, but by meeting it, eye to eye, like an old enemy you once feared, but now command. Close your eyes, not to escape, but to see. Visualize the insult. The disrespect. The betrayal. Feel it without flinching. Let it rise like a tide, heavy, choking, real, and then, breathe. Inhale like you're drawing in power. Exhale like you're letting go of chains. This is not weakness. This is war, internal, sacred, and quiet. Each breath is a hammer stroke, each exhale, a shaping, until what once threatened to destroy you becomes your strength. This isn't some New Age fantasy. This is an ancient ritual, etched in the minds of monks, warriors, and thinkers who lived through more darkness than you can imagine. Marcus Aurelius sat in the center of Roman chaos and breathed through rage. Epictetus, born a slave, taught that your thoughts, not your circumstances, determine your freedom. And Machiavelli, watching the dance of power and betrayal, knew one thing above all: the person who controls their inner fire controls everything. You're not just learning skills. You're remembering a power you always had. This fire isn't new. It's just been buried under years of noise, distraction, and ego. But now it rises, not in explosions, but in clarity. You're learning to sit with discomfort. To face the mirror when it shows you pain, and to whisper, "I'm not afraid of this anymore." Because the shadow only controls you when you avoid it. But when you walk into it with your head high, it becomes part of your strength. Remember this: the people who hurt you are not your enemies. Your real enemy is the version of you that thinks their opinion still matters. You do not need to fix what they broke. You need to become the person who would never let them that close again. And that happens in silence. In solitude. In the sacred space where you stop explaining and start evolving. There is a story you carry, a deep one. Maybe you've told it 100 times. Or maybe you've never said it out loud. The betrayal, the abandonment, the humiliation. But listen closely. That story is not your truth. It's your training. The pain didn't define you. It refined you. It stripped you down until all that was left was what's real. And now you're rebuilding, not out of spite, but out of sovereignty. Because silence is not a void. It's a forge. And in that silence, you're becoming someone who can no longer be manipulated. And no longer baited. And no longer broken. You're not cold. You're clear. You're not silent out of fear. You're silent because you've said everything worth saying. And now, it's time to show who you are without words. They don't need to hear your pain. They need to feel your absence. You see, that's the law. Machiavelli understood that presence is power, but silence is strategy. Let them speak. Let them justify. Let them fumble in the noise they create. You've stepped into something they can't. Follow. A quiet fire that doesn't need to roar to burn. Your healing will confuse them. Your silence will haunt them. But that is not your concern anymore. Because this journey isn't about proving anything. It's about reclaiming everything. And you've only just begun. There will come a day, if it hasn't already, when someone tries to shatter you with words. They'll stab with silence. They'll twist the blade with betrayal. They'll watch your face, waiting to see you flinch. And in that moment, you will feel the storm rise. But instead of reacting, you will do the unthinkable. You'll stay still. Not because you're weak, but because you've built something they cannot touch. A fortress, stone by stone, brick by breath, layered with the discipline most people fear to develop. This is self-control, not the fake kind that suppresses, the real kind that transforms. It doesn't just change how you act. It changes who you are. You no longer live to prove. You live to protect, not your ego, but your peace. Every time you don't react to disrespect, you become stronger. Not colder, stronger. Your silence isn't empty. It's full of awareness. It watches. It measures. It waits, Machiavelli said. The wise man does at once what the fool does at last. And a fool will always speak first. They will reveal themselves. They will expose their own weakness. But the wise, they let silence do the heavy lifting. You've felt the temptation to retaliate. To send the text. To confront. To post the final word. But every time you don't, you're mastering a different language. The language of restraint. This is not emotional numbness. This is emotional precision. Because you're no longer owned by the moment. You own the moment. You sit with your anger. You listen to your sadness. You feel the betrayal. And instead of reacting, you alchemize it. That doesn't mean you let it slide. It means you move with purpose, not impulse. Because here's the truth no one teaches you: revenge isn't power. Silence is. You're not meant to fight every battle. You're meant to choose the ones that shape your destiny. And that choice, that distance between emotion and action, is the space where warriors are born. So when the disrespect hits, pause. Drop into breath. Let it wash over you like a storm hitting a mountain. Use the tools now etched into your bones: breath control. Inhale deep, exhale slow. Calm the nervous system. Reclaim your center. Journaling, pour the fire onto paper, not people. Get it out, so it doesn't rot inside you. Thought reframing. Don't ask, why did they do this to me? Ask, what does this show me about them? Shift the lens. Reclaim the power. Solitude, step away. Let your silence become your message. Not absence, presence, sharpened. And when the noise fades, you'll still be there, standing, watching, unmoved. Because validation is no longer your currency. Dignity is. They may call you cold, distant, unreachable. Let them doubt they're reacting to the parts of you they can no longer manipulate. You've stopped bleeding to make them comfortable. You've stopped shrinking to fit into their broken world. You've started building your own. This is what self-control gives you: a private kingdom. A quiet mind. A sovereign heart. The world wants you reactive, emotional, predictable, because that's how they control you. But the moment you become still, they panic. Because stillness makes them look inward, and most can't survive that mirror. You live in it now. You've become the observer of your own mind, the architect of your emotions, the sculptor of your reactions. You no longer give your energy away freely. You invest it. You guard it. And this is what scares them the most. Not your words, not your fire, but your control. The voices that once controlled you, they fall silent. Because you don't need their permission anymore. This is what Machiavelli meant when he said, "Men are driven by two things, fear and love." And once you no longer fear being alone, they can't use love to manipulate you. You've built your fortress, not to keep the world out, but to keep your truth in. And inside that fortress, you are untouchable. There comes a moment when you look around, and nothing controls you anymore. Not the betrayal, not the silence, not even the version of you that begged to be seen. Because something has changed. You're not reacting. You're responding. You're not chasing. You're choosing. And you're not proving anything. You're becoming everything. This is emotional mastery, not the absence of feeling, but the ability to feel everything without letting it destroy your peace. And that's what no one tells you. Your emotions are not flaws. They are signals, messengers, raw energy waiting to be shaped. Pain isn't your enemy. It's your forge. Sadness isn't weakness. It's water carving the depths of your soul. And anger is a sword. Unsharpened, it cuts everything, including you. Mastered, it becomes precision, power, purpose. This is your new way of living, not fighting every battle, but designing your battlefield. You are no longer a character in someone else's story. You are the author, the architect, the sovereign force. And the world feels it. They feel it in your silence. In your eyes. In the way you move without noise, yet shake entire rooms. You don't explain anymore. You don't defend. You let your energy speak for you. Because words can be twisted. But energy never lies. And your energy now, it's clean, grounded, unapologetic. There's a line Machiavelli never said out loud, but it lived in his works. Those who cannot control themselves will always be ruled. But you've broken the chains, not with force, but with awareness, not with revenge, but with rebirth. You are no longer living by reaction. You are sculpting your world with intention. And every time you stay silent after disrespect, you reclaim another brick of your kingdom. Because now you understand, some people don't deserve your fire. Some battles don't deserve your scars. And some storms are better watched from inside your fortress. You are not cold. You are sacred. You are not detached. You are aligned. You are not hard-hearted. You are heart-armored. Because you finally get it. Mastery isn't about appearing strong. It's about being so strong you no longer need to perform it. And now, you move different. You sit with your thoughts like royalty. You face pain with eyes wide open. You choose your words like a blade, sharp, rare, and only when needed. This is your rebirth, not loud, not celebrated, but eternal. They'll wonder what changed. They'll try to reopen doors they slammed shut. They'll feel your absence more than they ever felt your presence. But you've already left that battlefield, not because you lost, but because you outgrew it. And now, you walk forward, not to prove, not to chase, but to build. You build a reality rooted in discipline, forged in silence, protected by clarity, and led by the deepest, rawest truth you've ever known. No one owns your peace but you. This is the Machiavellian law they never taught you. The most dangerous man is not the loudest, it's the one who no longer reacts, the one who sees everything, and still says nothing. Because silence, when mastered, is not absence. It is sovereignty. You are not what they did to you, you are what you did after. You did not just survive disrespect, you transcended it. And from this day forward, you no longer chase closure. You are the closure. You no longer beg for truth, you embody it. The world cannot shape you anymore. You are the creator of your mind, the ruler of your most sacred dominion. And that is where your power begins.